Welcome to Heidi Relationships. Today, we'll read some more stories from Reddit. But before we start, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. That would help the channel a lot. Thank you very much in advance.
The first one is titled, I, 26M. Can't handle my wife's, 26F, PMS. Hey, I love my wife and I like to think I'm a good husband, but maybe I'm not? We've been together for 10 years and married for 1. Basically, I'm getting to the end of my rope with her PMS. I feel like a crappy misogynist every time I say this. She's always had really bad periods, and for a while it kept getting worse. Like she couldn't go into work and would be sobbing on the floor. I took her to an obgyn and she got a surgery to remove endometriosis lesions. Ever since then it's been night and day with the pain. I'm really glad she's not in pain anymore. It was hard enough to see her going through it, so I couldn't imagine being on her end of it. I guess I say this to maybe paint a better picture of myself, like I'm empathetic to her menstrual health. But I really struggle with her PMS, and I'm always trying to Google ideas of what to do. It's all stuff like, give her a hot water bottle, give her a back rub, support her. And I do all that after the PMS. It's not like she's in need of a water bottle when the cramps aren't even there yet. I struggle so hard with the hormonal swing. Her anxiety gets out of control and she catastrophizes everything. Nothing I say is able to calm her down. The most recent time she was having a breakdown, she was convinced we were going to be evicted and I was so exhausted I just let her rant. But then she said that I didn't even care about anything or her. So, I gave in and talked her down. And that's not the worst one. Last month was my father's funeral, and she was starting her period and everything was about her and her emotional needs. It was so exhausting. I feel crappy when I don't support her. My therapist keeps saying that things seem unfairly divided. But I feel like she just has big emotional needs and eventually it'll be my turn. Or maybe there is something I'm not seeing. Is there something I should do about the PMS? Or is it something else? Once her period starts, she always gets really embarrassed and is like, I guess that's why I went crazy there. Is there anything I can do? I feel so lonely when she gets like this. A user in the comments said, this sounds like PMDD and not normal PMS. I have PMDD and 3 days out of the month I get super anxious and suicidal. I think everything and everyone would be better off without me. I cry at the drop of the hat. I see animosity in everyone's interactions with me. I now take a medicine and while it doesn't take away that stuff 100%, it damps it down enough that I realize what's happening and can mitigate most issues. Your girl needs to see her gyno and describe these symptoms to them. I take Cymbalta 60 mg, which also has the added benefit of helping the pain as well. Another user said, if you're being honest and complete with your description, this is not normal PMS. She needs to pursue medical options to modulate her hormonal swings, and then therapy to learn to better cope if that doesn't resolve the issue. This is difficult for you but is also probably no picnic for her, either. The next one is titled, Update. I, 26M. Can't handle my wife's, 26F, PMS. I'm thankful for all of the comments on my original post. I really started to wonder if it might be PMDD. When she was calm, I talked to her about her mood swings. She agreed that it was a problem but didn't have a clue what to do about it. So, things stayed mostly the same. Now, I was also struggling, still am, after the death of my father. At a routine checkup with my doctor, I told her about my symptoms of depression. She agreed that it sounded concerning and got me an emergency referral to the psychiatrist. These are the only kind of referrals the hospital was accepting due to COVID. In the meantime, I got started on antidepressants. Seeing how easy that was, I went to my wife and brought up my concerns again. This time I was able to tell her what to do and what might happen. It turns out that she has GAD, the PMS was only exacerbating it. However, this really didn't excuse her behavior around the funeral. Some comments pointed how my emotional needs weren't being met. That was a pretty big understatement. I was in huge denial around that time. I felt like I could do nothing for my wife. Or for anyone. Life just felt like endless suffering. I ended up attempting to do a lot of bad stuff to myself. When I finally was contacted by the psychiatrist, I explained my situation. It was casual for a bit, but then I told him what I'd been doing and, well, he told me to admit myself to the hospital or he'd send someone to get me. My wife was in complete shock when I told her what was happening. But she brought me there. When she first saw me again, she apologized for how distant and awful she'd been. I didn't even bring it up, but she apologized about the funeral. The 8-hour trip had really stressed her out, and she'd been incredibly anxious about the funeral, COVID, baby planning, etc. But she told me that none of that was an excuse. The time apart really gave her time to think. She got me everything I needed. She visited tons, and there were hours of time to talk feelings. She worked with my doctors on safety plans, got me a bunch of welcome home gifts, and she has been a lot more helpful around the house. The medication she's on has really leveled her out. She's very happy to be on it too and says she doesn't feel crazy anymore. She's continued to be amazing. Usually, I'm the one that does most of the Christmas stuff, and usually I give all the best gifts. She's always struggled to get me things I like, but this year she actually outdid me. I have so many Switch games now. Guys, I haven't gotten to them all yet. I'm still having a rough go, but she's always telling me to not stress and focus on recovery. I'm really happy to have her. ETA. We aren't currently baby planning. We were trying right before my father passed, but that's now on hold for the foreseeable future. The next one is titled, Fiancée cheated and planned something so horrible, I can't believe it. I'm 28, absolutely livid right now. I've just got back from a long-term assignment overseas and found out my fiancé, F24, has been cheating on me for the entire time. That's bad enough, but it gets far, far worse. She got herpes from the other man and, I hope you're sitting down, her plan was to infect me, too, so I would have a reason not to dump her. Are you kidding me? Can anyone explain to me her logic? She was being so aggressive to get me into bed. Normally, she gives me a couple of days to get over jet lag before she initiates intimacy. But this time she was talking all kinds of dirty, cam girl dirty. She never does that. And she was climbing into my lap in the parking garage. She's normally very private about physical affection. Something just didn't seem right, so I told her I needed to recover from my long flight. This started a huge fight that got worse on the drive home and turned into a full-out screaming match once we got back home, complete with her breaking things. I didn't understand what was going on and told her I was going to call the police so they could lock her up for her own good. And that's when she told me she'd cheated on me with a guy from Tinder. She said it was a mistake, that she was sorry, and begged me to forgive her. I just stared at her, trying to breathe. I told her she had to leave, give me some room, but she fell to floor and grabbed my legs, telling me that I can't throw her out, that I can forgive her, if we could just make love. I demanded to know why that's so important. In between screaming, sobbing, and ranting she said she had herpes, her life was ruined if I dumped her, and it was my fault because I wouldn't have sex with her right then and there. I felt like a million cockroaches were crawling all over me. I grabbed my keys and left. I'm at a hotel now, she's blowing up my phone, texting me that herpes isn't a big deal, that if we both had it, it would make us a stronger couple, and we could even share medicine. She put a laughing face emoji after that line. I think she's going insane. We've been together for 5 years, engaged for the last year, and I don't think I know who she is at all. I've taken multiple showers and still can't get rid of the feeling bugs are crawling all over me. I can't turn out the lights, I can't even close my eyes. Has anyone ever dealt with anything like this? What was she thinking? WTH, am I supposed to do next? A user in the comments said, leave. This person, like most cheaters, is selfish and has no morals or character. That will not change over their lifetime. They will be able to fake it a lot, but it is the way their brain works. My husband's AP gave him herpes and he transferred it to me. He basically gave me a life sentence of celibacy because my outbreaks include places that a condom would not provide any protection. I would never have sex without informing any future partners, so there will probably never be any. You have no reason to talk to her again. She has shown you what she is capable of and she should be dead to you. Go to NC, block her on all platforms, tell your friends you do not want to hear anything about her, and thank your lucky stars you found out before you contracted the virus. Good luck, it will be hard. Another user said, "This is ducked on so many levels. She sounds like a complete psycho. Firstly, she cheated on you. That's the first and only strike you need to leave this mess of a human. Secondly, she got an STD from it, didn't initially tell you, tried to hide it and give it to you. That's probably illegal, and also a manipulative, crap tea person. Thirdly, she then told you what she was trying to do and trap you into staying with her because she thinks you would be undesirable to others and desperate. This is grotesque. I've heard a lot of infidelity stories. I've lived my own, but yours, dude. Yours takes the cake so far in being the most messed up. Get rid of this dumpster fire of a human being. Even if she didn't cheat." The next one is titled, "Fiancé Cheated and Planned Something Horrible Update." First, thank you to everyone who replied with support and ideas going forward. I was sitting in a hotel at my wit's end when I made that post, having no one to call that late, or early in the morning, and not knowing how to even begin discussing what had happened. Of course, the relationship is over. That was never in doubt, and I apologize if anything in my original post made that unclear. A lot of you made comments and/or sent messages of constructive things to do next to detangle me from my now ex-fiancé, which is what I was trying to ask for. Those of you that told me not to go back home right away, you were right and thank you. I was planning to head back the next day, but because of your comments, I called her cousin, nearest relative, who lives nearby, and told her everything. She didn't believe me at first, but when she got to our place, she found my ex-fiancé sitting in the middle of our living room, staring at the wall, incoherent, with dozens of our pictures torn up all around her. The cousin got her some help, called 911, and a very understanding police officer showed up with a social worker. Together they got my ex-fiancé into a psychiatric clinic. I talked with the officer and he said it was okay to go back home and clean up. He took pictures for his report. He also suggested I get a temporary protective order to keep her away from me, filed this morning, waiting for the hearing, and that her cousin get a conservatorship. Ex-fiancé is doing that bad. When talking to the lawyer about the protective order, she told me that it is a crime to intentionally infect someone, or even try to, with a STD in our jurisdiction, but the key word part is legal intent. With her mental breakdown, it's not likely the DA's office would prosecute. To be honest, I would rather she just get help for her mental health than a criminal conviction. My friends came over and cleaned up our place, my place now. They wouldn't let me do much, telling me to just relax. I ended up sleeping 10 hours straight. Problem is now I have time to think. So many questions, no answers. It didn't help that her cousin showed up to return the engagement ring. They took all my ex-fiancé's jewelry when she was admitted. Holding that ring in my hand really hit me hard. Now I keep feeling guilty, especially about the time I spend away from home on assignments. My job involves helping people in some of the poorest places in the world, and, when I'm there, I sort of go numb, and that numbness lasts for a week or so when I get back. Depression is a reason a lot of people with my job resign. Maybe I should find a new job? Maybe I was asking too much of her? Could any woman handle that? Anyway, I had a few minutes and wanted to convey my thanks to all of you who kept me sane when it all went down. Thank you. The next one is titled, "Am I the butthole for jumping out of a bathroom window to avoid my mom's attempt at forcing a reunion between me and my ex-fiancé?" Some backstories. I had been dating my ex-fiancée Sarah for 4 years. We had been planning to get married in November 2020, but I found out at the start of this month that she cheated on me. She begged me to give her another chance, but I broke it off. The problem was that being cheated on is, in my mind, completely emasculating and humiliating. So, I never told anyone that was the reason we broke up. For obvious reasons, Sarah also didn't tell people we broke up because she cheated. So, people have blamed me for the breakup, including my mom. They just see that I dumped her out of the blue. I've gone very strict no contact with Sarah after I discovered she was cheating on me. Sarah has been talking with my mom and has convinced her that if we could talk one more time, we would be able to reconcile. My mom has been applying hardcore pressure on me to talk with Sarah, but I've explained that there's no chance we will ever get back together. So tonight, I go over to my mom's place because she's hosting family for Christmas Eve. I'm there for a bit talking with my aunts and uncles and cousins when the doorbell rings and I can see it's Sarah. I ask WTF is going on and my mom says she invited Sarah so we can work this out in the spirit of the holidays. I'm pissed now because the only way to explain my side of the story is to tell everyone I was cheated on. Complete humiliation in front of my whole family. So as my mom goes to the front door, I go into the bathroom. My mom starts knocking on the door saying that I need to come out and talk to my ex like an adult. I say duck it, kick out the window screen and get in my car and go home. My mom called a short while ago saying she's cutting ties with me over my behavior. She's really fixated on me jumping out of a window, and that Sarah will always be like a child to her. My sister called me after to ream me out for ruining Christmas. I broke down and told her that Sarah cheated on me, which is why I dumped her and didn't want to see her under any circumstances. She called me a big butthole who was lying to cover for myself. Am I really in the wrong? A user in the comments said, "Duck that. Your mom, Sarah, and your sister are all buttholes. The nerve of her, to show up at your mom's house." I'm pissed off just reading this. I don't understand why your mother is so invested in Sarah. Why would you want to tell her Sarah cheated on you, after how your sister acted? What a ducking mess. Not going to lie, you are kicking out the screen and taking off through the window as straight savage. Reflexes up on legendary. NTA. Another user said, "Esh. Climbing out of the window because you don't want to explain what happened. What are you, 16? Just talk to your family?" The humiliation of being cheated on is less than the shame of acting like this to people who love you. Yes, they should have respected your no contact rule, but seriously, they also need to know what actually happened to warrant this. Maybe some true would have got them on your side and you wouldn't be in this situation. A problem that could be solved by a decent conversation. This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the relationship stories. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video and write a comment. I really appreciate your support and it helps my channel so much. Thank you.